a good lawyer, you call him.
I need your help.
I got fired yesterday.
For what?
We need to have a conversation. Look, if you know...
I made a pretty sizable investment with Cammy.
An investment you'll lose.
If you lose this, the thing you love the most, that's the first thing I'll take.
The Landman Season 2 Episode 10. Trailer opens in a way that feels deeply uncomfortable for a finale. There is no urgency, no fast cuts, no dramatic dialogue meant to hype the audience. Instead, the trailer leans into stillness. That stillness is intentional, and it tells us everything about the kind of episode this is going to be. This isn't a finale built around fixing mistakes. It's built around facing them. What immediately stands out is how restrained everything feels. Characters who once moved with authority now hesitate. Their body language is slower, heavier, almost burdened. The trailer doesn't show people making bold decisions. It shows them living with the weight of decisions that were already made. This is Landman signaling that Episode 10 won't be about action. It will be about consequences finally catching up. The lack of dialogue is one of the most important clues. In most finales, characters explain their plans, justify their choices, or promise victory. Here, words feel useless. The trailer seems to suggest that talking won't change anything anymore. Whatever was supposed to be said has already been said earlier in the season. Now, all that's left is fallout. The silence forces the audience to sit with discomfort, and that discomfort is the point. Another key detail is how familiar spaces are presented. Locations we've seen all season feel different now. Offices look empty, land feels colder. Places that once represented control and power now feel abandoned and exposed. This isn't just a visual choice. It reflects the emotional state of the characters. The systems they built around money, land, and influence are no longer holding them up. Instead, they're closing in. The pacing of the trailer reinforces this idea. Nothing feels rushed. The cuts are slower. The music fades instead of rising. There's no sense of momentum toward a win. There's only a steady movement toward impact. This tells us that Episode 10 isn't setting up a rescue or a last-second save. It's preparing the audience for loss. Not just physical loss, but emotional and moral loss as well. The biggest signal comes from what the trailer refuses to explain. We don't see clear resolutions. We don't hear anyone talk about solutions. The show deliberately withholds answers, and that's where the breakdown really begins. Landman isn't trying to comfort its audience. It's training them to accept that some doors are about to close permanently. This is why the trailer feels less like a celebration of the season and more like a final breath before something heavy lands. It's telling us that Episode 10 won't reward patience or loyalty. It will expose reality. Every decision made earlier in the season is now unavoidable, and the trailer makes it clear that no one is escaping what they set in motion. By choosing silence over spectacle, Landman sends a clear message. The finale isn't about who wins. It's about who survives the truth when there's nowhere left to hide. And as the trailer quietly unfolds, by the time the Landman Season 2 Episode 10 trailer settles into its rhythm, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Tommy's downfall is no longer something that might happen. It has already happened. The trailer doesn't frame him as a man preparing to fight back. It frames him as a man standing in the aftermath, forced to absorb the weight of everything he's lost. Losing MTEX wasn't just a business failure. It was the collapse of Tommy's identity. For most of the season, his power came from position, access, and influence. Even when things went wrong, he always had leverage. He could make calls. He could delay consequences. He could protect the people connected to him. The trailer makes it painfully clear that those tools are gone now. Without MTEX, Tommy isn't just weaker, he's exposed. What makes this especially unsettling is how the trailer isolates him. He isn't surrounded by allies. He isn't leading meetings. He isn't issuing commands. Instead, we see him alone, quiet, and heavy with realization. This silence isn't accidental. The show is telling us that Episode 10 won't give Tommy a heroic rebound arc. There's no dramatic speech coming. There's no final power move waiting in the background. There's only acceptance. The trailer subtly reinforces this by showing how disconnected Tommy is from the centers of power he once controlled. He's no longer at the heart of decisions. He's no longer shaping outcomes. He's reacting, not acting. And that shift changes everything. In earlier episodes, Tommy's confidence came from knowing he could always fix things later. Episode 10 is positioned as the moment where he realizes some damage can't be undone. This is where the emotional weight of the finale starts to take shape. Tommy isn't being punished loudly. He's being stripped quietly. The trailer doesn't humiliate him, it empties him. And that's far more devastating. His authority didn't disappear in one explosive moment. It eroded slowly, and now there's nothing left to stand on. The biggest implication hidden in this trailer is what Tommy can no longer do for Cooper. For the entire season, Cooper's mistakes were manageable because Tommy existed as a safety net. No matter how reckless things got, there was always the assumption that Tommy would step in and contain the fallout. The trailer quietly destroys that assumption. Without M-Tex, Tommy has no leverage, no influence, no shield. The police involvement after the club incident changes the stakes completely. This isn't a situation that can be handled behind closed doors anymore. Systems are now involved, and systems don't bend for emotional reasons. The trailer doesn't frame this as suspense about whether Cooper will get away with it. It frames it as inevitability. Consequences are already in motion. What's especially chilling is how the trailer presents intent as irrelevant. Cooper may have been trying to protect Ariana, but the violence escalated beyond control. The man he attacked nearly died. That detail shifts everything from a moral gray area into a legal reality. And Tommy, for the first time, has no way to interfere. The trailer never says this out loud, but it doesn't need to. The absence of power speaks for itself. This creates one of the darkest truths of the finale. Tommy isn't failing because he doesn't care. He's failing because the system he relied on no longer recognizes him. Episode 10 is shaping up to be the moment where he's forced to watch consequences unfold without the ability to stop them. And for a man who built his entire life around control, that loss may be the most painful one of all. The trailer doesn't promise redemption. It promises reckoning. Tommy's journey in episode 10 isn't about reclaiming power. It's about realizing what life looks like when power is gone. And that realization is already written all over the silence surrounding him. As the Landman Season 2 Episode 10 trailer continues, the focus slowly shifts from lost power to reckless momentum. Cooper's storyline no longer feels like it's building toward growth or ambition. It feels like it's racing toward impact. The trailer makes it clear that his actions have crossed a point where intention no longer matters. What matters now is consequence. The club incident sits at the center of this collapse. The trailer doesn't frame it as a misunderstood moment or an act of justified anger. It frames it as something dangerous that spiraled out of control. The fact that the man Cooper attacked nearly died changes the entire tone of the situation. This is no longer about protecting someone he loves. It's about the legal and moral weight of violence that can't be explained away. What makes this moment feel different from previous crises is the absence of an escape route. Earlier in the season, Cooper's mistakes felt temporary. There was always someone to step in, smooth things over, or redirect the fallout. Episode 10 removes that safety net completely. The trailer strongly suggests that police involvement is not a cliffhanger meant to create suspense. It's confirmation that the system is now active, and once that happens, personal connections stop mattering. The trailer also highlights how Cooper is operating under pressure without guidance. His dangerous oil drilling decisions are shown not as bold risks, but as desperate reactions. These choices don't feel calculated. They feel rushed, driven by fear and a need to prove control in a moment where control is slipping away. This pattern of behavior suggests that Cooper is trying to outrun consequences instead of facing them. Ariana's presence adds emotional depth to this breakdown. The trailer doesn't rely on dramatic arguments or emotional outbursts to show the strain between them. Instead, it shows distance, pauses, emotional separation. The future they imagine together, including marriage, now feels fragile and uncertain. This quiet disconnection mirrors the larger theme of the finale. Relationships in Landman don't explode. They slowly erode under pressure until there's nothing left to hold on to. What's especially telling is how the trailer positions Cooper emotionally. He isn't framed as someone learning from his mistakes. He's framed as someone trapped by them. The choices he made earlier in the season are no longer flexible. There's no room left to adjust or correct course. Episode 10 appears ready to force Cooper into accountability without offering comfort or justification. The trailer also suggests that Cooper's actions will have consequences beyond himself. His drilling decisions put others at risk, reinforcing the idea that desperation is replacing responsibility. Without leadership, without structure, individual fear begins to shape outcomes. And fear, as the trailer quietly shows, is far more dangerous than ambition. This section of the trailer reinforces a key truth about the finale. Season 2 isn't ending with lessons learned or mistakes forgiven. It's ending with reality asserting itself. Cooper's arc is no longer about potential. It's about consequence. The systems that once protected him are gone, and Episode 10 is positioned as the moment where everything he's been avoiding finally arrives at once. There is no dramatic build-up here, no swelling music promising redemption. Just a slow, steady confirmation that Cooper's world is closing in. And as the trailer continues, it becomes clear that this isn't a temporary setback. It's a turning point that will define who he becomes after the fallout settles. As the Landman Season 2 Episode 10 trailer moves deeper into its breakdown, the focus widens beyond individual mistakes and lands on something far more unsettling. The family at the center of this story is no longer functioning as a unit. It hasn't collapsed in a dramatic explosion. It has quietly fallen apart through absence, hesitation, and emotional distance. And the trailer makes it clear that Episode 10 will expose just how deep those fractures really are. One of the most revealing aspects of the trailer is what it shows us about support, or the lack of it. Characters who once leaned on each other now feel isolated, even when they're in the same space. Conversations feel incomplete. Eye contact is avoided. The trailer suggests that people aren't arguing anymore because they've moved past that stage. They're emotionally disengaging, and that's far more dangerous. Arguments imply investment. Silence implies surrender. Angela's role, or more accurately her absence, stands out here. The trailer subtly suggests that she is not stepping in to actively support Annesley's independence. This matters more than it seems. Throughout the season, emotional responsibility has been passed around without anyone fully taking ownership. Angela's selective presence reinforces the idea that guidance is missing where it's needed most. Episode 10 appears ready to show the consequences of that neglect. The show isn't presenting this as cruelty or intentional harm. It's presenting it as avoidance. Characters are overwhelmed, distracted by their own losses, and unable or unwilling to show up for others. The trailer frames this as a chain reaction. When leadership collapses at the top, emotional stability collapses at home. And once that happens, damage spreads quietly but permanently. What makes this especially powerful is how the trailer avoids blame. No single character is positioned as the villain of the family's breakdown. Instead, the responsibility feels shared. Everyone contributed through inaction, silence, or misplaced priorities. Episode 10 is likely to confront this truth without offering easy forgiveness. The show seems more interested in honesty than reconciliation. The family dynamic also reflects the broader collapse of structure across the series. Just as business leadership has weakened, emotional leadership has disappeared as well. There's no one holding things together anymore. No one setting boundaries, no one offering reassurance. The trailer shows a vacuum where authority and care used to exist, and that vacuum is being filled by uncertainty and fear. This emotional instability directly connects back to Cooper's behavior. Without consistent guidance or support, his reckless decisions make more sense, even if they aren't justified. The trailer subtly links family neglect to dangerous choices, suggesting that when people feel unseen or unsupported, they act out in ways that create even more damage. Episode 10 appears ready to explore this connection in painful detail. Another important detail is how the trailer treats shared spaces. Homes don't feel warm. Family environments don't feel safe. These places no longer offer comfort or protection. Instead, they feel tense and hollow, reinforcing the idea that the emotional center of this world has shifted. The land may still exist, the money may still circulate, but the sense of belonging is gone. The pacing of these moments is deliberate. Scenes linger just long enough to feel uncomfortable. The show wants the audience to notice what isn't being said, what isn't being done. This slow pacing suggests that episode 10 will focus heavily on emotional fallout rather than plot twists. The damage has already happened. Now we're watching characters realize it. This section of the trailer also hints at long-term consequences. These family fractures don't feel temporary. They feel foundational. Episode 10 isn't positioning itself as a moment of healing. It's positioning itself as a point of no return. Relationships may continue, but they won't return to what they were before. Trust, once eroded, doesn't magically rebuild. Perhaps the most unsettling message here is that love alone isn't enough anymore. Good intentions don't cancel out neglect. Caring silently doesn't prevent harm. The trailer suggests that episode 10 will force characters to confront the reality that emotional absence can be just as damaging as active betrayal. As the finale approaches, the family at the heart of Landman stands divided, not by hatred, but by exhaustion and unresolved pain. And episode 10 is shaping up to be the moment where that division becomes undeniable. No speeches will fix it, no last-minute gestures will heal it. The fractures are already set. What comes next will be shaped entirely by how each character chooses to live with them. As the Landman Season 2 Episode 10 trailer continues, it becomes clear that the most dangerous element isn't what's happening on screen, but what isn't. The trailer repeatedly refuses to offer relief. There is no promise that things will get better, no signal that the worst can still be avoided. This absence isn't accidental. It's the clearest indication that Episode 10 is built around permanence. Everything in the trailer points to one idea. The choices made earlier in the season are no longer flexible. There will be no last-minute reversals, no hidden solutions, no sudden changes of heart that fix everything. Landman isn't asking what could happen next. It's showing us what must happen now. And that shift in storytelling changes how we should view the finale entirely. One of the most unsettling creative decisions in the trailer is how it removes urgency. Most finales accelerate. They pile tension on top of tension until something explodes. Landman does the opposite. The pacing slows down. Moments stretch. Pauses linger longer than expected. This forces the audience to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. The message is clear. The crisis already happened. What we're watching now is realization. This is reinforced through silence. There are extended moments where no one speaks, and those moments feel heavier than any dialogue. The trailer suggests that words have lost their power. Apologies won't change outcomes. Explanations won't undo harm. Promises won't delay consequences. Episode 10 appears ready to strip characters down to their raw reactions, leaving them with nothing to hide behind. Another key detail lies in how familiar environments are portrayed. Offices feel lifeless. The land looks unforgiving. Places that once symbolized success and control now feel cold and indifferent. This visual shift mirrors the emotional reality of the characters. The world they built around oil, money, and authority is no longer supporting them. Instead, it's pressing in from all sides. The trailer subtly communicates that the environment itself doesn't care about their struggles. The land doesn't respond to regret. The system doesn't pause for grief. This reinforces one of the show's core themes. Power was always temporary. Control was always an illusion. Episode 10 seems determined to expose that truth fully. This leads directly into the biggest thematic leak of the finale. Survival, not victory. The trailer makes it clear that Episode 10 won't reward ambition, dominance, or clever maneuvering. It will test endurance. Characters who once thrived on control are now just trying to get through the day without collapsing under the weight of their own decisions. Tommy's arc reflects this shift most clearly. The trailer doesn't show him fighting to reclaim authority. It shows him existing in a world where authority no longer protects him. His journey in Episode 10 appears to be about acceptance, not recovery. Accepting that influence is gone. Accepting that some damage can't be repaired. Accepting that intentions don't outweigh outcomes. The trailer also makes it clear that Season 2 is intentionally setting the foundation for Season 3. Storylines aren't being wrapped up, they're being locked into place. Characters are being left emotionally and professionally unstable so that the next chapter can explore the fallout. This explains why the trailer feels restrained instead of explosive. It's not trying to excite you, it's trying to unsettle you. Time itself feels different in the trailer. Moments linger, pauses stretch. Characters seem stuck, unable to move forward or backward. This emotional paralysis is critical to understanding where the story is going. Season 3 won't begin with momentum, it will begin with aftermath. Episode 10 is the moment everything stops pretending it can still be fixed. The show's storytelling approach becomes fully clear here. Landman isn't chasing shock value, it's applying pressure. Slow, sustained pressure that forces characters to reveal who they really are. Not through confrontations, but through silence. Not through speeches, but through choices they can't take back. By the end of the trailer, one truth feels unavoidable. The world of Landman is changing permanently. The old rules no longer apply. The systems that once protected people like Tommy and Cooper are failing. And what comes next won't be about rebuilding what was lost. It will be about learning how to survive in a reality shaped by consequence. This finale isn't asking the audience to cheer. It's asking them to sit with discomfort, to accept that some stories don't end cleanly, some end with damage that carries forward, and that's exactly what makes this ending powerful. Landman Season 2. Episode 10 isn't the end of the story. It's the moment the truth finally takes control. If you want more deep breakdowns like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts below. Do you think anyone escapes the fallout in Episode 10, or is this where everything truly collapses? Let me know.